Thank you all. I asked earlier today if I needed to identify any distinguished guests when I got up here, but I think the distinguished guests are already well identified, sitting out here in the front, marching in the parade, carrying the flags, and also those who are providing our safety and those first responders. Thank you all for being here in support. Dennis approached me a couple months ago about doing this, and I wasn't entirely sure what I would do. So what I told him, finally, was that I would be happy to talk about the greatness of the American soldier. Now, after I said that, I then began to think about the greatness of the American soldier, and it occurred to me that what makes the American soldier great are the values that end up becoming part and parcel of the soldier, the airman, the sailor, the Marine, the Coast Guardsman. Values affect us all. And of all the things I learned when I was in the Army for a relatively short period of time as a friend and advisor to soldiers is the importance of clear values. Now, values is a word that gets tossed around a lot, usually by people wanting you to buy something or give you their vote. But values, if you treat them honestly, do not lend themselves to other people's agendas. Rather, they convert others' agendas to themselves. Now, each of us is the result of a certain set of values. I'll give you a national example. Think about the Constitution and the preamble. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution of the United States. Well, those are value statements. We, the people, that's a democracy value. A more perfect union, that's a unity value. Justice is a value. Tranquility, peace is a value. Common defense, autonomy is a value. General welfare, prosperity, opportunity, that's a value. Liberty, freedom, values. And all of those civil values are the things that go in to make our common life together possible, even though individually we have all manner of different values. On a personal level, I was raised to have 3 values that connected to others, of course. My father made the comment that he always wanted his children to be good Christians first, good citizens second, and then to be happy. Well, there's a catch. We had to define those things for ourselves. Being a good Christian might mean leaving the church. Being a good citizen might mean going to jail, as our civil rights protesters taught us. And being happy, that's up for grabs all the time, isn't it? So when I think about values, understand that it's all connected. And it's all dependent on our ability to engage them honestly so that they can live. And 3 values I learned watching the American soldier do his or her job are the values of duty, the values of sacrifice, and the value of fellowship. Now, when we talk about duty, immediately we realize we are on different territory. Ours is often a consumer society that obsesses about convenience and doing something because you want to. Duty is all about taking something on because you must, because it's the right thing to do. Duty is what empowers people to lay down their lives for friends and for strangers. Duty is what empowers people to storm the beaches at Normandy. Duty is what empowers people to stand against fire hoses and dogs in civil rights. Duty is what gets the job done. And without duty, all your other goals will fall victim to convenience. sacrifice. Sacrifice is another word that we don't like to use in pop culture. We think we want something for nothing. People promise something for nothing. People run platforms that say, we will get you something, and you won't have to worry about it. But sacrifice binds us all together. Sacrifice reminds us that there is no free lunch, that everything has a consequence, everything has a cost. Our servicemen and women every day show us in the extreme what sacrifice looks like. And it is a value that we would do well to inculcate throughout our society so that we do not expect any one group to bear the brunt of anything else that we value. Right now, our values are being borne every day by the men and women who put themselves willingly in harm's way. The third value I want to tell you about is fellowship. Relationships in the military are intense. Anybody who's been there will tell you that. It's remarkable. It's often said that someone will join the military for their country, but they actually die for their buddy. And there's truth to that. The camaraderie that gets created in the heat of battle. The camaraderie that is created in the shared experience of moving every 2 years with your family. The camaraderie that comes about from having to step off on a mission at a moment's notice. But there's another word for it. It's a word we all know. Love. The bonds that are created in the military are wonderful examples of bonds that should be created throughout our society. As we create a more perfect union, what is stronger than love? What is stronger than fellowship? What is stronger than brotherhood and sisterhood? To be honest, when it comes to civic values, I can't think of anything. Last night I got word that an Army friend of mine who I only worked with for 3 months is on his way to hospice care. And I was taken aback how strongly that hit me. The bonds that we have in the military, the bonds that we have in our families, are the bonds that make it very painful when bad things happen. And yet we are stronger for that vulnerability than we would be without the bond of love. And it is that bond, finally, that has us here, standing in nearly 90-degree heat, some in uniform, to remember. It is our connection, not just with those who served before, but those who serve now. With those who serve honorably and live to tell the tale, and also those who made the ultimate sacrifice in the performance of their duties for us. That is why we are here. And that is why we must remember, so we can preserve these things that we hold most dear. These values that transcend creed, that transcend race, that transcend nationality, and make it possible for us to build a world one day where we will no longer have to make these ultimate sacrifices. But until that day comes, let us remember, let us honor, and let us give thanks for the men and women who have ventured much for the liberties that we enjoy. And never rest until everyone shares in the liberty. And as that great prayer of my tradition says, and gladly accepts its disciplines. Thank you all.